Hello and welcome to Niger Delta Today, a politically, culturally and economically charged program specially knitted together to beam lights on the Niger Delta region, bringing its uniqueness, beauties and vital concerns to the fore. My name is Xavier Robert, and for good company with me today is exquisite Awero Swagane Ebo.
Oh, geez.
That should be 100%.
No, not yet 100%. The VW, there's a way to pronounce it, but you're getting there.
Okay.
I give you 90.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for being on the program with me. And actually, we have a very interesting lineup for you, starting with the Federal Housing Authority initiative in the Niger Delta, the import of ofo holders in Aquere River State. And River State seems to be on the show a lot more often as the Amawile faction has declared the Pro-Fubara lawmaker seat vacant. I think it's tit for tat here. And Bielsa is trying to expand its horizon when it comes to maritime and blue economy, as the governor of the state, Senator Dwoye Diri, is seeking partnership with the federal government at the Ajay Seaport and the blue economy. And all of this we have lined up for you during the program.
Well, we're going to quickly serve off with the Federal Housing Authority, an agency of the President Bola Tinubu administration, saddled with the task of providing affordable housing for Nigerians. It has consistently been fingered as one of the most critical sectors of the administration that must be given keen interest, especially considering Nigeria's housing shortage, which by way of statistics has been pegged at about 17 million housing deficit, with 70% of Nigerians said to be living in informal settlements, also considered as slums. But also about 50% of urban residents are said to be living in rented apartments. Well, today on the program, we are going to be beaming lights on the housing deficit in Nigeria and who else to help us make sense of these issues, if not somebody who is in the agency directly responsible for housing in Nigeria. Well, an average housing cost is pegged at about 20 to 50 million naira. Today on the program, we'll be seeking some understanding from one of the major players in this agency of government as regards the recent efforts of government to actualize its housing vision for Nigerians. We have joining us on the program the Executive Director, Estate Services Federal Housing Authority, Architect Ezekiel Nyaitek. Architect, you're welcome on Niger Delta today. Architect Nyaitek, we seem to be having issues with your audio.
Oh.
Well, I'm sure we're going to be able to establish contact with Architect Ezekiel Nyaitek, ours, but then this is quite a salient issue. I mean, when you look at the issue of housing in Nigeria, a lot of conversations have hovered around how we can augment the living standards of Nigerians, because I mean, if you have where to stay, you seem to have sorted out a lot of your issues. Sometimes you can peg it at 70% of whatever is your problem is sorted, because you know that whatever you were doing outside, eventually you have where you're retiring to
lay your head.
So if you can cross that out, it gives you more perspective. You're able to focus more on pertinent issues that would lead to your own welfare being augmented, apart from just having to, box your mind as regards where you're going to stay and bothering about those things, instead of channeling those energies, seeking for other very serious issues.
There was a way you presented the living in a rented apartment as if it's a bad thing. Not actually, because not everyone will actually own a home. And judging by the price of a house in Nigeria, you said between 20 to 50 million. How many people in Nigeria, their take home annually is up to 2 million naira? So if you plan to buy a house, it's going to take you about 10 to 15 years. That's if you even have money aside to do other things. So it's all about affordable housing, not just renting an apartment to live in. A lot of people would actually tell you, I'm not taking the house to heaven. For those who are spiritual or religious, they'll say, I'm not taking the house to heaven, I'd rather rent, but let it be affordable. how affordable is our housing in Nigeria?
Well, that's a crucial question, Alvis. But then, a lot of people will argue with you that they would rather own their own homes. But then,
how easy is it to own one?
As you have rightly couched it, to what extent is the earning power of most of these Nigerians who seem to be average income earners, who maybe be living very much below a certain level that they are supposed to be able to cater for the housing needs?
Even with the new minimum wage,
even
with that pricing.
Okay, you seem to be whispering when saying that.
No, I didn't whisper. Okay, I think the mic was low.
but then that hasn't even come into play, and we are already having issues. But then you know that if that comes into play, the landlords of Nigeria would be
take their prices higher.
Of course, thinking of how they are going to benefit from it.
Yeah.
In fact, it hasn't even been implemented yet.
The annoying part of their quote is building materials have gone up. Are you rebuilding the house? You are maintaining the house. So why try to suffocate Nigerians with new house rents and all of that if you know how much houses cost now? If you even calculate that 20 million or your minimum wage of 70,000, now let's use the minimum wage for example, 70,000. How many of that 70,000 do you have in 20 million? Let's not go higher, let's just say 20 million. You still have to feed. You still have to transport yourself to work. You need to pay your children's fees for those who are married and have children. You have a whole lot of other things to do. Then if you are the breadwinner in your family, may the Lord help you. There are some people who are on the side saying, auntie, uncle, brother, that thing is not beans. As in, affordable housing really needs to be looked at in this country.
Well, the federal government, through the Federal Housing Authority, have been saddled by President Bola Tinubu to ensure that it does everything possible to provide affordable housing for Nigerians. And I remember that some time back, the Federal Housing Authority had sent a delegation to Akwa Ibom State, where the governor, having met with them, donated 50 hectares of land for a project. I think it was the Diaspora Housing Initiative, so to say, to cater for that. And the long-term vision is that we're going to be able to have housing effectively provided for persons in the diaspora who will be able to, invest more in Nigeria. Because at times, when they begin to wonder how they're going to come here and adjust to the living standards,
can you hear me?
Sometimes they act, very pridefully when it comes to this.
I think Architect has joined us.
Well, Architect Ezekiel Nyaituk, you're welcome on Niger Delta today.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me now?
Good afternoon, sir. We can barely hear you.
You can hear me?
Okay.
Well, Architect.
Hi,
welcome.
sir. Can you hear me? I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us on the program. I'm sure we'll be able to really communicate today. But then let me start by asking you, your agency, the Federal Housing Authority, has been doing quite some work as regards providing affordable housing for Nigerians. But now let's narrow it down to the Niger Delta region. We'd like to have some understanding as regards the efforts of this agency in providing affordable housing for Nigeria. If you could just bring us up to speed with some background as to the work that you are doing. I understand that the President, Bola Tinubu, has saddled your agency with the task of ensuring that Nigerians have affordable housing. How is that coming along?
Things you need to know is what Federal Housing Authority is and how important it is for Federal Housing Authority to live up to her responsibility, because the future of housing in Nigeria rests on the shoulders of that organization, that authority called the Federal Housing Authority. The Federal Housing Authority is set up by a decree, by an act of law, as the housing delivery organ of the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And last year, this authority celebrated her 50th birthday. Now, you have certain landmark estates that belong to Federal Housing Authority, like the Gorimpa Estate in Abuja, and the whole of Satellite Town in Lagos, and 50 other, over 50 other estates spread across Nigeria. We are a new body set up, a new management team set up by Mr. President, and headed by none other than the Honorable Oyetunde Ojo, and we call the new sheriff in town, extremely motivated, extremely upwardly mobile, and doing things that have not been done for a long time. But coming down to the Niger Delta specifically, I want to let you know that Federal Housing Authority in the past 9 months or 8 months that we've been on the saddle, we have been able to visit. Sorry, there's a feedback. I don't know if it's from your I don't know if it's from your area. I don't know. There seems to be another system that is. Can you hear me?
All right, architect. Well, if I may follow up that particular question with this. Back here in Akwa Ibom, I understand that a visit was made by the Federal Housing Authority to the state some months back, and that visit culminated in 50 hectares of land being donated by Governor Pastor Omoyeno. That project was supposed to start in September. I am wondering where you are right now as regards that.
Okay, can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Well,
can you hear me? Can you hear me?
A couple of challenges establishing connection with. Architect Ezekiel, can you hear me? Well, I'm hoping that we'll be able to reconnect ours with Architect Ezekiel Nyaituk, but then he was trying to tell us the work the Federal Housing Authority has been involved in and the fact that they are celebrating an anniversary. But then I was going to ask him as regards the visit to the state by the Federal Housing Authority and what it stands to benefit Akwa Ibom, considering the state governor had donated 50 hectares of land to the authority, and the project was supposed to start in September. We're hoping...
Providing about how many houses? 500, right? Or
well,
5,000?
That is the information would have hoped to get from him, but then we're having issues with it.
But obviously, if they should go through or follow through with this whole thing, first of all, it's going to create job opportunities. But I hope, with that regards, my concern here is the fact that, you know, most of these contractors, when they are awarded this contract, they already have a team of people working with them. So that might actually steal the job opportunity thing we're talking about. But I hope this case is going to be different. And another concern I have is, why the diaspora city? Why not solve the indigenous problem here? There are people in Akwa Ibom, irrespective of the fact that the state governor, Pastor Omoyeno, has given out this compassionate housing scheme and all of that, giving some people houses. There are still a number of people in the Niger Delta and even across Nigeria that do not have places to live.
Well, there's actually a couple of projects, like the Renewed Hope City project, which is, of course, there are different projects. Diaspora City is one of them, the Renewed Hope, the National Housing Scheme. I think that should not be in the forefront of the whole thing. It isn't, actually. They pegged it. So I feel they want to be able to tackle the different aspects of housing, you know, one after the other, not leaving out one. But then, in this case, there's the issue of priority. But I'm sure we'll be able to establish connection with Architect Ezekiel Nyaituk to bring us up to speed with some of the activities of the Federal Housing Authority. We'll do that right after this break. Stay tuned.
Step into the heartbeat of the world, where news meets real talk. From breakthroughs in diplomacy to humanitarian challenges and scientific milestones, Global Digest takes you beyond the headlines and straight to the heart of the matter. I am Amma Marcus. Be a part of the world unfolding stories at 3 p.m. on ADBN. channel 258 on DSTV, and Star Times, channel 140. Global Digest, your window to the world's current affairs, only on Advocate Broadcasting Network.
In a world of overwhelming voices where everyone has different opinion on different issues, it is important that we bring the core issue to the fore. Join me, Nancy Banigo, on Softline as we lend our voices to inform and influence your thoughts and actions. This is not just mere talk, it is an invocative program that touches the core of our existence.
It is Groovy Mono, aka the Steve Prince.
Yo, what's up? It's Big Shags. I'm in London.
Hey guys, I'm Princess Jekoko. My name is Mutale Mwanza, the Queen of Zambian Media.
My name is Grand Prince Aita. Hi guys, my name is Baj Adebule. I'm an actor and a filmer.
Hello guys, I'm Falagade Banks.
My name is Kelechi Amadiobi, photographer, storyteller.
My name is Lanradi Dura, I'm an actor.
My name is Chidi Mokeme.
Hi, my name is Ucheoba.
It's Tourist season.
I'm Miss Thames.
Hi ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, mamas and papas, I am Jimmy. You can call me the Entertainer.
My name is Essie Odometa. I am an actor and a film producer.
My name is Sobi Kubana.
Hi. My name is Julius the Genius. I would give a shout out to ADBN.
Big shout out to ADBN TV.
You're watching ADBN.
And you are watching.
Keep watching ADBN TV.
And this is ADBN TV.
And this is a shout out to ADBN TV. Keep watching, don't switch the dial.
Shout out to ADBN. Keep watching, love.
And you are watching ADBN TV.
Shout out to ADBN TV. I've got one thing for you. Make sure you keep watching ADBN TV.
And shout out
to ADBN TV.
Shout out to ADBN TV. Don't touch the dial.
And you're watching
ADBN TV. Keep watching ADBN TV.
And I'm shouting out to ADBN TV.
They're watching ADBN TV.
Keep watching ADBN TV. This is where to be. And you're watching ADBN.
And shout out to
ADBN TV.
And shout out to ADBN TV. Keep watching.
And you're watching ADBN TV.
Keep watching ADBN TV.
Right now you are checking out ADBN TV. One time.
ADBN. Keep watching. I love you and kisses.
Keep watching ADBN.
And a special shout out to ADBN. Keep doing what you're doing, guys.
Please don't touch that dial.
Stay groovy.
Hey, Bobby.
Ha! It's a shout out to ADBN.
ADBN. Advocate Broadcasting Network.
No matter wetin I see, enough fit make mouth heavy to talk am. That's now why people dey talk.
You know wetin dey worry you, but you no go fit take help yourself.
In this kind of situation now, what if they really no talk to una? Wetin be the way forward?
They go bury our chairman on Thursday. We go remain here.
Make we talk good where we dey see good, and where we know say we no dey see good, make we also dey talk am.
No woman, no mother deserve to know the grave of his child.
The bank manager and the bank executive, they are the one the government should first face.
People They Talk, the show on Monday to Friday by 5 p.m. on top ADBN TV.
Many thanks for staying tuned or joining us back on Niger Delta today. Well, just before that break, we're having a conversation with one of the players in the Federal Housing Authority, the person of architect Ezekiel Nyaitek. Architect, you're welcome. Can you hear me?
Thank you. Yes, I can hear. I've been hearing you all along, loud and clear. I hope you can hear me now.
Well, I was going to ask you, just before we went on that break, the visit to Akwa Ibom by the Federal Housing Authority, some months back actually, and that visit culminated in the state governor donating 50 hectares of land to the Federal Housing Authority. But then, the project was supposed to start in September. Could you bring us up to speed with developments as regards that?
Okay, thanks so much for having me, and I pray that the sound no longer has any other problem so that we can come to the end quickly. What I was telling you was that Federal Housing Authority has been around for the past 50 years. This year makes it 51. And over that period, we have several landmark estates, everything And there is no Federal Housing Authority estate that is abandoned anywhere. The closest to it is one in Odupani, which we are taking steps to put back together. Since the current administration, where we came in about February of this year, that makes it about 9 months ago, led by Honorable Oyetunde Ojo, we had to change the dynamics of things and do things differently, in which case we've been able to go to so far 26 states and interact directly with the governors of those states. One of those states is Akwa Ibom, so I'll dovetail to your question now. One of the states we visited was Akwa Ibom State, where the governor was awesome, he was magnanimous, he was anything that we could wish for. And me, an extremely proud person, being from Akwa Ibom State and being the person in charge of getting land for the authority. How will you be getting from other states when you don't get it from your own state? When we came to Akwa Ibom, the land we got 50 hectares, like you said, was very well located and everything. In terms of progress, I want to tell
Hello, architect, can you hear me? Well, that was Executive Director, Estate Services, Federal Housing Authority, Architect Ezekiel Nyaituk, speaking to us and some of the activities of the Federal Housing Authority for the Niger Deltans when it comes to affordable housing and a couple of other issues. But Architect Ezekiel, if I could just ask you one more question. What would you say is the statistics so far as regards what you aim at achieving at the Federal Housing Authority? To what extent will this administration be able to reach its goals when it comes to affordable housing just before this first tenure of the president elapses?
Are you hearing me at all? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I think there's a disconnect.
Unfortunately, we couldn't really have a smooth conversation with Architect Nyaituk, but then there you have it, ours. He has been able to tell us a couple of things as regards the housing initiative of the federal government and how it's going to impact some states in the Niger Delta region, specifically Akwa Ibom.
And Delta too.
And Delta too. Yeah. You could add that. But we're really hoping that these initiatives would come to play because, as we have rightly captured it, there are a lot of housing deficit issues that must be really addressed before long, so that, we can say that we are talking one less the issues that Nigerians have to deal with, with the economic issues about.
I like that.
It would be difficult
-1.
if you are still talking about where to live, sustainable housing program and affordability.
Yeah, because while commending the initiative, we should just keep our fingers crossed and hope that this will not go to the drains like other initiatives that has come up. Because this housing is something that is physical. People will see, there will be evidences, and we hope the Federal Housing Authority is putting all hands on deck to make sure that becomes a reality.
Well, before long, we will try as much as possible to bring back the architect, Ezekiel Nyaituk, to have this conversation with us more extensively. But for now, let's turn our sights on another very pertinent issue of culture. There are 4 holders. Let's now bring you this very insightful report on the Kwere people in Rivers State. The rich culture of the Ofo insignia and its holders transcends mere rhetoric, as over time it has come to be seen as and revered as representative of peace, justice, and unity. What are the imports of the Ofo and its holders in Rivers State? This revealing report answers some of these questions. And this special report had our correspondent at Chinano Temple visiting Obele community in Rivers State, where Ofo holders gathered to strengthen the practice. Here, the people there had many interesting ways of describing the symbol of the Ofo. Sit tight for it.
Barefooted old men, some above 100 years, marched through Obele community amid significant silence, suggesting respect for the highest decision-making body in the land. Each bearing a stick of about 4 feet long, horn from buffalo or antelope. Their traditional wears were laced with red traditional caps suited for the cultural practice. These old men are believed to be blameless of any commitments or crime. Once one is taken into the Ofo fold, he stops wearing shoes, abhors lies, and always stands for what is right. They have special seat, a locally made three-legged chair. These men don't drink in the same cup with anyone, hence the buffalo horn serves the purpose. It is also used for prayers and to pour libations. Head of the Ofo holders in Obele community, Uchendo Egonu, who represented his very old father, Dominic Egonu, speaks more on the import of the stick, horn, and the red cap.
Ofo holder is something that involves, in a Christian, we call it somebody who is a Christian or a holy. Ofo holder, whomever the gods is called to handle this throne, is called by the gods of the land. So in Christendom, I will transfer it as a holy person, as a person who is chosen by the communities, by the gods of the community. And at the same fact, he is somebody who has been chosen to make peace, to restore unities, and does not have enemy, to maintain and to progress of the community, that we speak in not favor of the family, but in favor of the community. Yeah, the significance of this staff is the person is Jew, and this staff shows that the community and the gods has handled this. When once this comes, this is marked as a mark of staff is marked as a mark of peace. Whenever conflicts come between man and woman or in the community, when once he raises it, just I have raised it now, hit it on the ground, it's significant that let there be peace and let everybody be clear. They fight the people who has conflict, either the woman or man, or the community that has problem, gun or knives that come with the sophisticated weapons. When once he raises it, everybody will go back. That is the mark of these staffs.
Among the Ofo holders is a professional surgeon, Pa Ikechi Woken. He became an Ofo holder after being chosen by the gods. He gave the botanical name of the Ofo as Deuterium seleganense. According to Dr. Woken, the Ofo, even in the government textbooks, is the highest decision-making body in Ikwere and Igbo land, saying whoever holds the Ofo is endowed with powers from God.
It's known to everybody that immediately reach the age of the grown age, you can hold it. And you are the oldest person within the village. But it's, you don't talk how you just as you like, because you have reached the age of reasoning. You have surpassed that age of too much saying. You talk only when it is necessary.
The reason why Onha don't wear shoe, it means they are in gods, they speak with the gods. And the ghost does not lie. Any ghost that lies is a dead ghost.
The Ofo is always in the custody of the oldest man, who must be upright at all times. According to Dr. Woken, the origin of Ofo cannot be traced because it's shrouded in mysteries, saying only a diviner can explain. One major significance of the gathering of these octogenarian and septuagenarian was that it brings together thousands of sons and daughters of the area as a unifying force. Achinono Temple, ADBN News.
All right, thank you so much, Temple, for that report on four holders, and I'm very sure the Ikwere town is peaceful because that staff symbolizes peace and unity, like the Uchegu rightly said. But moving away from that, let's move now to, well, still in Rivers State actually, where there is this steady unfolding of political drama in the state. Most recent is the law from the Amawule-led House of Assembly that has declared the seat of the Edison Ehie Profubara lawmakers vacant. And this happened yesterday as the House of Assembly, led by Martin Amawale, passed a resolution declaring the seats of pro-Fubara lawmakers, led by Oko Jumbo, vacant for absenteeism for a period of 152 days from legislative businesses. The lawmakers also agreed to give Governor Siminalayi Fubara another opportunity to present the 2024 appropriation bill before the 10th Rivers State House of Assembly. The group backed their decision in line with the ruling of the Court of Appeal, which directed that the governor represent the 2024 budget to the House. Let's bring you this clip to have a better understanding of what we need to talk about.
Speaker is empowered by Section 1092 of the 1999 Constitution as altered to give effect to Section 1091 of the Constitution and declare their seats vacant in following satisfactory evidences of their willful absence from meetings to sitting of the House for 96 out of 177 legislative sittings of meetings in the first section and 56 out of the 56 legislative sittings of meeting in the second section of the 10th Assembly.
Their seats are here, vacant.
Relying on the provisions of Section 109, subsection 2 of the 1999 Constitution, and of course, Section 109, subsection 1E and F, that the seats of these 4 members have been declared vacant. We are going to allow the governor one more opportunity to present, because he has never presented it. He never presented to anybody in the eyes of the law. It's been declared by the High Court, it's been declared by the Court of Appeal. We don't have a budget. We have said so from the beginning. We are giving the governor another opportunity.
That's the situation of things in the River State House of Assembly. But joining us in the studio right now is organization development consultant and the person of Mr. Marvel Essien. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good
and welcome to the program again.
Mr. Marvel, you're welcome on the program.
Thank you, sir.
It's good to have you.
Thank you.
Just before we thought we had a moment of fresh air in River State, this happened yesterday. The Amewule-led group of the House of Assembly, comprising himself and 24 others, declared the seats of the pro-Fubara lawmakers vacant for missing in plenary over 150 days, as they couched it. And we're also seeing a counter comment from the pro-Fubara group saying that, in fact, we had already done this. The 25 lawmakers already had their seats vacant since December last year. These are all back and forths, and we're still trying to understand at what point do we see a final restoration of harmony in the Rivers House of Assembly, because as long as it continues like this, the issue of governance will still be having a huge question mark.
Yeah, possibly I think there would need to be a political solution to this. But you see, the law courts, the way I understand they operate is only based on the facts presented before them. So as it stands today, the appeal court have made their judgment, and that judgment would have been dependent on the facts available to them as they deliver the judgment. But we all know the background to this, you know, coming from November to December 2023, and the issues that arose there from that this set of lawmakers, about 26 of them, they said they were no more going to be members of the PDP and move to the APC. By that movement, of course, constitutionally, they ceased to be members of the River State House of Assembly. But the issue now is when Mr. Hiye took over and declared the seats vacant, and the issues kept evolving to the political solution that the president tried to make out to them, that withdraw all cases that we had from the court. Now, these people did not withdraw their case, but the governor of Obara withdrew his case from the court. That is the basis where the appeal court yesterday said you have conceded by acknowledging that what these people are saying is the truth. So we move on with that. But on the other side, the governor has his own case that these seats were already declared vacant. Therefore, these people are not members, no more members of the Rivers State House of Assembly. Now, looking at these two sides, the ultimately Supreme Court will have to determine whether the Amuhale-led group are still the original or they are the real authentic members of the House of Assembly or not. Until then, until the Supreme Court makes its state judgment, then we still would have the situation as we are having today that is it 3-member or 4-member?
4-member.
Assembly members are still the ones ruling because the governor, as of today, has already filed a stay of execution of the judgment, and he has also appealed the case to the Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court would determine this, but it now depends on what goes to the Supreme Court, whether the Supreme Court will be receiving the papers of judgment, the judgment of the High Court in Rivers State, including the issue of the defection of these other members of the House. Whatever will come to the Supreme Court will inform the Supreme Court judgment. But all what we should know is that the law is based on facts. The law is based on what is presented to the courts as it stands. So whatever will happen will be determined at the Supreme Court. But I pray when it gets to the Supreme Court, the judgment that should come from the Supreme Court should be that will bring back peace to Rivers State.
Yes,
harmonize it. That's why I'm also thinking about the political solution to it.
It will really be interesting to see how it plays out at the Supreme Court level because, I mean, the tension is already fever pitch. And any slip in terms of how this is resolved in such a way that both factions are properly reintegrated could snowball into something unimaginable. So it is really hoped that this would happen. But then another aspect that the Amewule faction raised was the issue of presentation of budget of Rivers State. He is of the opinion, Amewule, that is, that the governor, in the eyes of the law, has not presented the budget to the Rivers State House of Assembly. So we're wondering now, what is Rivers State operating on currently?
That is in the eyes of the law, of the legislative eye of Amuhale himself.
No, I think he's saying that because you need 1/3 of the entire house.
Quorum. The issue of quorum comes in.
And the 4-man member doesn't have up to that.
My understanding, my opinion, you could only determine a quorum based on the number of members available. So if the members, authentic members available to the House is 4 and 3 or 2 were present, then they had formed a quorum. So if the House were to be made up of maybe the 26 members and you said 4 out of 26, then you can say, oh, a quorum was not formed. So what would the law see if 20-something people had defected? Then you do not have more than 4 people as members of the House. Then the 4 people were complete to have approved the budget, approved the budget of the state. But however, whatever we want to make out of it is the fact that in this case, I cannot blame the judiciary because the judgment that was given yesterday could be used as a reference point for subsequent judgments that will come in similar matters. If they were to have the judgment of a high court of any form relating to the defection of these members from one party to the other and use it as a basis of that judgment, then one would be able to fault the judiciary. But in this case, what was available to them is just that we are 20-something members in the House and only 4 people sat to approve a budget. So the law will say, no, this is not appropriate. But when it comes to the real issue of determining on the date of sitting on the sitting to approve the budget or to the appropriation budget for Rivers State, who were the members of the House of Assembly on that date? So the law would now, the judiciary should now determine were there 4 members made for Rivers State, or were there 20-something members for Rivers State in the eyes of the law, as they would say.
Okay.
Who were the rightful members of the House of Assembly?
Okay.
Then we would hear from the Supreme Court.
So now this declaration of vacant seats, what is the consequences, or what are the consequences for the constituents whose representatives, their seats have been declared vacant?
The constituents, they have lost representation for a very long time now, because you see the 4 members, also remember that he resigned from the House. So his constituency, the constituency of the other 26 people, they have suffered. Governance in Rivers State has generally suffered. We cannot say that it's a balance if we were to say we're operating executive and legislative, 3 arms of government. 1 arm of government in Rivers State is already down. So whatever is happening in Rivers State today is a crisis situation that has to be redeemed one way or the other, either politically or by sheer judiciary actions.
That means it's safe to say that development in this constituents has been put on hold until peace is restored.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. The executive can continue with development processes in this constituents, but their representation, people to bring to, what's the function of the assembly? Assembly will just come, their main function is to highlight the needs of their constituency, and in real governance, the needs of the state, the needs of the state, not necessarily just their constituency. So if they are not there to balance power, to ensure that they are able to project the needs of their constituents, then they're being shortchanged. But development can still continue based on what the executive thinks it is right or their needs may be.
Well, another very key issue, a factor to consider, is how is the Amewule-led faction surviving within this period, or running the affairs of the House of Assembly as it is constituted? I mean, the executive is not part of it so far. So it begs the question, how are they operating? The other 4 may not really have issues because they are pro-Fubara, isn't that so?
Yeah, you could also add that they don't even have a clerk of the House.
True.
So who transmits bills and who receives bills? It's something that they should know that they are not existing at the moment.
Well, the drama in Rivers State is really calling for concern, and it should be speedily resolved, because as long as this continues, the trajectory would remain the same. The people are the ones bearing the brunt and suffering these inimical issues in Rivers State. Well, it'll be interesting to see what the coming days would hold for the Rivers people and the political scene as we have it today. But then let's turn our sights right now on another issue of the blue economy in focus. A lot of conversations have circled recently around boosting other economically viable sectors of Nigeria's self-sufficiency goals. One such area has been the blue economy, and the government of Bayelsa State has said that it is poised to unlock its vast blue economy potential, with Governor Doya Diri seeking partnership with the federal government to develop the deep sea port at Agi and harness the state's maritime resources. This move is expected to reduce the state's reliance on oil and gas and create new economic opportunities. Now, the key areas focused on include marine and blue economy policy, with the Bayelsa government drafting a comprehensive policy framework to guide the development of its marine and blue economy sector. This policy aims to unlock the state's potential, driving economic growth and improving lives. This is in no little way going to help boost infrastructure development and encourage private sector participation, especially in augmenting the state's internally generated revenue. Well, all of these came to play as when the Governor Doya Diri paid a visit to the Minister of Blue Economy in Abuja, and a lot of conversations centered around the fact that Bayelsa has proven that it is ready to take on this sector of the economy, especially being the first state to establish a ministry to cater for that. Now, the governor also went ahead to say, talk about how his administration has opened up senatorial roads to see to it that it expands the opportunities that Bayelsa has in harnessing the benefits of this very budding sector. What, in your words, would you say this spells for not just Bayelsa but Nigeria generally?
I just say the blessing of the crisis in the petroleum industry has made people in Nigeria to begin to look at the non-oil sector more seriously. And as it stands, Bayelsa State is also pushing for it. But you see, the Bayelsa State government would do well if they concentrate more in sourcing for investors to come into helping them with the deep sea port. Over-reliance on the federal government can bring so much delay. I know when he mentioned about constructing those roads, those senatorial roads, that's creating an enabling environment for an economy to thrive. But doing so and having a vision of establishing and making sure the deep sea port works well, then they should not also just think of the federal government's participation alone. They should think more about the public-private partnership that the governor also mentioned. Push more in that direction. See if they can get domestic investors, foreign investors, whichever way they would go to enable them move faster in that direction. Because the federal government, every state is looking for how to get something from the
partnership or the other.
For one partnership or the other. So it has a way of delaying. You have to wait for federal government to have the resources to support you. It's a high time we started to push for independence, private sector driven economies and all that. So the idea, the blue economy idea is beautiful. The deep sea port and all that, the marine activities and all that is very beautiful. However, create the enabling environment. He didn't mention if he has completed the roads to the sea.
Still in progress.
So if that he should concentrate and complete that road, those roads, that would give a boost to it. I don't know if the federal government will refund the money that is spending to build those federal roads. And if they do, you could also still channel the money into building other infrastructures to ensure that the Bayelsa economy sits up.
Well, by statistics, the governor also mentioned that the potential of this blue economy in Bayelsa State could draw in a whopping $1.5 million in IGR for the state, boosting employment and, of course, taking care of other issues, especially as it would encourage moving away the focus from oil and gas to other viable means of impacting the economic realities of Nigeria. To what extent will this contribute to Nigeria generally? $1.5 million.
It will. If
sorry,
the statistics,
$1.5 trillion.
It will. If I wouldn't be able to rely on his statistics so much, but it's the fact that such a project would boost an economy very effectively. You even could think about from the start of the construction of the project, the construction company that was going to build up the project will have to employ a lot of people, a lot of activities. The multiply effect of contractors, people going there to do one business or the other would, open up the economy of Bayelsa State in many ways. So you think about the employment value that is going to bring. But the other side to it is the culture that we have allowed to really eat us up. I'm talking about militancy, as it were, that is closely associated to this oil exploration that has become a cost to Nigeria in a way. Now, for you to reorient it, is it a kind of paradigm shift for people to begin to think differently? Because when you're talking about blue economy, you're thinking about real work, artisanship, professionalism, putting in all these things, bringing them to bear at making you become efficient and effective. It's a direct opposite of militancy that you just sit down and you do one fishy business or the other.
Fast move.
And make money from it. Who in Bayelsa will really want to sit back down and do that? So if we could concentrate more in making sure that we have a kind of cultural change that will shift our thinking from the other ways of making money to these new ways of making money, it would form a fundamental basis for us to be able to say that you can build this and succeed at it. Not the situation that when you start the construction, you are doing it in face of kidnapping and threats to security and all that would hamper the growth or the success of the project itself. So, but I'm sure the governor understands his environment very well, and he's likely to put things in place in a manner that we can transit from this oil dependency to the non-oil sector that will open up our economy in a better way.
Okay. Now, you just mentioned the fact that the people of Bayelsa State need to move from this militancy mindset to actually getting to do the work, get their hands dirty to make a living. Now, is it also possible for them to engage in source of livelihood that is pertaining to the ocean without increasing their carbon footprint?
You see, sometimes we see projects like this and we hear proposals like this and we think of it as very beautiful and it can be done, but you also will understand that when we talk about blue economy, the marine activities, the damage that this oil exploration has caused the Niger Delta region is quite enormous. So when we sometimes have this oil spill and you say you want to clean up an area, you may find out that to what extent did they actually clean up these areas. And the environmental impact is such that in the beginning of the program, we talked about housing. You know, the way houses are maintained in this Niger Delta is even more expensive than how it is maintained in other parts of Nigeria that do not have this kind of environmental impact that all exploration activities has brought on us. So there are so many things to be done before you can be able to achieve that level of economic activity that you may be asking of now. So that's my answer, is to say that we should concentrate more on the fundamentals and get things corrected at the foundation level such that we can build on all these aspirations that we hear our leaders talk about.
Okay. Last question that I would like to put to you, just if you could answer that in 1 minute. The Niger Delta is, for over time, has been considered a gold mine, a money spinner, so to say, as a result of its abundance of resources that, if properly harnessed or tapped into, can lead to unimaginable wealth for the persons living in this region. And to what extent would you encourage more work in terms of tapping into these other means of economic rejuvenation in the Niger Delta in such a way that it's going to benefit the people of this region?
Since you are giving me 1 minute, let me just talk about the reorientation of the people in the Niger Delta regarding work values, ethical standards, on ways of doing things in ways that is consistent with best practice, by international standards of best practice. So you come to see the place of training and development, you come to see the place of building good economic structures, you come to see the place of people understanding how to push for what they really want and understand how to add value to whatever they have. And we think of the kind of economic activities that we are engaged in and what values that we can really bring to bear. All these things would form the basis. The potentials are enormous. So achieving this potential is so easy in the Niger Delta if we can also control our resources the way we should.
Mr. Marvel Esiang, Organization Development Consultant, thank you very much, as usual, for affording us your ideas on the program Niger Delta today.
Thank
really
you.
Appreciate
Thank you so much, sir.
I think it's a fine place to live it. I'm sure we had fun on the program.
We did.
Well, thank you very much for being a part of the program Niger Delta today. Of course, you can follow our activities on all social media platforms, all of which you can find on our website, adbntv.com. You can also watch us live on adbntv.com/live. My name is Xavier Robert, wishing you a terrific afternoon. Hours?
And I am Avero Sogene Ebo. Bye for now.